Hello and welcome to Tuesday evening yoga with Phil. Your practice is at your own risk, so do pay attention to how your body is feeling tonight. Be prepared to take lighter options or rest things out if that's what your body needs. We're going to start the class lying down, so when you're ready, bring yourself to a comfortable lying down posture. That's probably feet out to the corners of the mat, hands away from your body, palm turned up. But if you've got any discomfort at all in your lower back, or just because it would be more comfortable, then do feel free to bend your knees, have the soles of your feet on the ground. And once you're comfortably lying down, then just give yourself a few moments. Nothing in particular to do, except relax. Start that process of bringing yourself into today's class. Letting go of your day. Bringing your attention to the back of your body as it lays against the ground. First of all, scanning up from the feet, feeling those parts of the body that have the strongest contact with the ground. Places like the heels, calves, backs of the hips, shoulders, shoulder blades, fingers against the ground, elbows, back of the head, firm contact with the back of the head. And then have an awareness of the whole of the back of the body, just a sense of all of the back of your body in connection and contact with the ground. The stillness of the back of the body against the ground. Then bringing your attention to the front of the body, that whole side of your body that's facing up to the sky if you're outside, or up to the ceiling in your room. And again, noticing those parts of the body that are most upwards into that space that's above you. Your forehead, your nose, your chin, top of your chest, the little hip bones that stick out at the front of your hip, your toes, maybe your fingertips as they curl up upwards. Becoming aware of the breath and just noticing how as you inhale, some parts of your body lift and occupy more of the space that's above you. So really having that sense of taking that little bit more space for a moment, and how as you exhale you release that space as the body subsides on the out breath. Maybe just deepening your breath a little to see if you can occupy a bit more of that space on the inhale. We're going to take a bit of a movement at the hips to start warming the body up tonight. Bend your knees and bring your feet in towards you. Feet hip distance apart. Picking up your right foot so that you can place your hand on your right knee. With your hand on your right knee, then just start to draw a circle with the knee. Making that circle as large as you can whilst you've got a hold of your knee. Your hand is going to slightly limit the range of movement. Once you've got a good circle established, you could let your hand drop to the side and then allow the knee to draw a bigger circle completely unencumbered by your hand. And as you do that, you'll get a bit of a rock side to side with your hips, so you can have awareness of that rock. You could even encourage that rock a little, taking the knee in the other direction. Taking one more circle with the right knee, and then landing your right foot down. Picking up your left foot, placing your left hand on your left knee, and starting to circle with your left knee. Again, get the circle going with your hand there, drawing the biggest circle that you can with your hand on your knee. And then you can let your hand come down to the side and allow your knee to circle around unfettered. Again, being aware of what's going on underneath your hips against the ground. Maybe just feeling your contact with your lower back and the ground as your knee comes in close. Reversing the direction of your knee rotate. Seeing if you can make the next two any bigger. And then bringing that to a halt. Landing your left foot down. Stretching your arms out. Taking your hands above your head, and if it's comfortable to interlace your fingers and point your palms away, please do. Toes press forward. Hands stretch back. Just really stretching long. And as you take that stretch, just noticing what that's done to the contact the back of your body has with the ground. You may find that your calves have lifted away, that your lower back has lifted away. Stretching out long, then release. Bring your hands by your side. Coming slowly to sitting, and from sitting up to standing. I noticed that my video is running a little bit behind, so you might have a little bit of disconnect between my voice and what you're seeing. But given that you probably don't look at the screen that much, I'm sure that won't notice too much. So preparing for your sun salutations. Coming to the top of your mat, bringing your feet together, relaxing your shoulders, a little lift at the front of your chest as your shoulders relax back, pressing your feet into the ground and just checking with your feet, just noticing, are you more on the front of your feet or your heels, and maybe just seeing if you can even that out so the whole of the foot, of each foot is pressing firmly down into your mat. We'll begin with 2 breaths as always. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, bring your palms together at the center of your chest, pressing the whole of the hand and all your fingers together, lifting your elbows, keeping your shoulders relaxed. Reaching your arms up, stretching them to the ceiling, looking between them as you take your arms back, easing your abdomen forward, tilting your rib cage up to the ceiling. From your hips, stretching forward, keeping your arms lifted for as long as you can, then relaxing over your legs, bending your knees so that your fingertips can touch the mat, relaxing your neck muscles so your head hangs heavy. Taking your right leg all the way back, lowering your knee and lifting your gaze there. As you lift your gaze, allow your hips to ease forward. And as your chest lifts, that will also give you a bit more stretch at your hips. Tucking your right toes under, send your left foot back to plank. A strong plank, so your heels push away, your knees lift. A little bit of core applied, forming that perfect straight line from the back of your neck to your heels. Lowering your knees, bringing your chest slowly to the ground. Touch down with your chin, or if you can easily reach your forehead, and have it pressed forward, lifting your face and lifting your chest. Take your shoulders back, bring your elbows in close. And tucking your toes and lifting your hips. You might want to take your hips back to your heels first. Come into down face dog. Hips lift as high as you can take them to the ceiling. Your hands push down into the mat and press away from you. That helps your chest to ease to your knees. Heels firmly pressed down. So you'll feel some stretch in your calves as you do that. Looking between your hands, bringing your right foot through, taking your left knee down. Gaze lifts, hips relax. Left foot comes through, back to a forward fold. Fingertips are in line with your toes, neck muscles relax, head hangs to the ground. Then reaching up with your arms, stretching up towards the ceiling, looking between your hands, taking your arms back, and hands come down. Inhale. Exhale, palms come back together, lifting elbows, relaxing shoulders. Reaching and stretching your arms up from your hips, reaching and stretching your arms forward and then relaxing down over your legs. Knees might be a little bit straighter this time as you warm up. Left leg back, knee to the ground, top of your foot on the mat, lifting your gaze. Left toes tuck under, right foot back. Active plank, push the ground away from you with your hands, looking between your hands. If you're feeling strong, you could lower down in one straight line, taking your elbows to the wall behind, or knees first, then chest. Touch with chin or forehead, press forward, lifting your face and lifting your chest. Keeping the elbows close to the body. Toes tuck under, hips lift to down face dog. Really pushing the mat away from you, helping your armpits to lower to the mat. Maybe tilting your tailbone up towards the ceiling as your heels press down, helping to stretch the legs out long. Looking between your hands. Bring your left foot through, right knee down, gaze lifts. Right foot through, forward fold, head hangs heavy. Then a big reach and stretch up with your arms, coming back to standing, looking between your hands, and hands come down. Inhale, exhale. So we're going to take 2 more rounds. We will flow these with the breath. Crown of your head lifts as your feet press down. Rest breath to begin. Inhale, exhale, palms press firmly together. Inhale, reaching and stretching up and back. Exhale, reach forward and then all the way down. Fingertips touch the mat. Inhale, right leg back, knee down, lift your gaze. Hold your breath, left foot back, coming to plank, push your heels away. Exhale as you lower, knees then chest or one straight line. Inhale, face and chest lifts, shoulder blades back. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift on high as your heels press firmly down. Inhale, right foot through, left knee down. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Everything hanging heavy in the upper body. Inhale as you reach and stretch up and back. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms firmly pressed together. Inhale, reaching and stretching up. Exhale, forward then down. Inhale, left leg back, knee down, hips relax. Hold your breath, right foot back, coming to plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts, elbows in close. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift, hands press forward, chest towards your knees. Inhale, left foot through, right knee down. Exhale, right foot through, forward fold. Inhale, reaching and stretching up, looking between your hands. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, final side, palms together. Inhale as you reach and stretch up. Exhale, big move forward and down. Inhale, right leg back, knee down, lift your gaze. Hold your breath, left foot back, coming to plank. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift, hands press forward. Inhale, right foot through, left knee down. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Inhaling, reach and stretch up, and then back. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms together, final side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reaching forward and down. Inhale, left leg back. Lift your gaze. Hold your breath, right foot back, coming to plank. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts. Exhale, toes tuck. Final down face dog, hips lift on high, Heels press down, inhale, left foot through, right knee down. Exhale, right foot through, forward fold, everything relaxing. Inhale, reach and stretch up. Exhale, hands down. Taking your hands forward, feet apart. 2 breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Wonderful. From there, bring yourself to lying down. If you can, take me with you. Come to a good Shavasana pose. Feet out to the corners of the mat, hands away from the body. Palms turned up. And then when you get there, let everything relax. Keep your awareness and attention within your body somewhere. Could be by focusing on the back of your body or the front of your body or your breath, or observing any sensations anywhere in the body after our sun salutations. We're going to take Supta Matsyendrasana, a lying down twist. So bend your knees, bringing your feet in towards you, feet hip distance apart. Picking up your left foot, crossing your left ankle on your right knee. Pressing into your right foot so you can lift your hips and take your hips 2 or 3 inches to the left, placing them down, stretching your arms out at shoulder height. Your arms are your anchor line, so you want your arms pressing down, your shoulder blades pressing down to give you a strong anchor line at the top of your body. And then slow as you like, start to take both legs over to the right hand side. So let your twist develop steadily, legs slowly coming down. Now you might find you can land the sole of your left foot onto the ground, the outer edge of your right leg. But you might also find that that doesn't happen with your legs where they are right now. So if that's the case, just take your attention to the outer edge of your right foot that's against the ground. And just move that foot in towards the centre of the mat, taking your other leg with it. And as that foot moves to the centre of the mat, you may well come to a place then where you can land the sole of your left foot on the ground and the outer edge of your right leg. When your legs are as low as they'll easily go, take your right hand onto your left knee, keeping your left shoulder blade and arm pressing into the ground, and slowly ease your knee a little closer to the mat. So Martin, I don't know if maybe you can just bring your right foot just a little bit closer to me. That's it. That might let your leg come down a little lower. Once your knees as close as your shoulder blade allows, then you can use your breath so that as you inhale, you press your shoulder blade firmly to the ground, and as you exhale, you ease your knee a millimetre or 2 lower. So it's a bit like opening a book, trying to open it as wide as you can. Feeling the stretch down the outside of the left leg, that's the ITB, getting a stretch, as well as the twist of your spine. Have one more breath. Final ease down of your leg. Turn your gaze then to the right. Straighten your top left leg, taking a grip of it from underneath. Now as you take that grip, you want to be as close towards your ankle as you can reach, but may find yourself at your knee or higher. If that's the case and you have one to hand, I realise now isn't the best time to mention this, but if you have one to hand, you could take a belt and just loop the belt around your foot and hold it with your right hand. That's if it's not easy to reach below your knee. Wherever you are then, using your right hand, whether it's holding a belt or not, and using the muscles in your legs, see if you can raise your toes up towards the wall that's above your head. Keep your left leg straight if you can, but if you hyperextend or if your back of your knee is uncomfortable, then you can put a small bend in your knee. Next 2 out breaths,
Just see if the toes can go any closer to the wall above your head. So as you breathe out, that's the time to take it a little higher. Maybe just seeing if your foot can come any closer to the ground without your left shoulder blade lifting away from the mat. To come out, let go of your leg, bend your left knee, knees come in towards each other, then both knees come back up towards the ceiling. Having a reset there, so hips come back to the centre, re-stretching your arms out at the side at shoulder heights. If you use the belt, you might just want to take it over to the other side, ready for the other side. Picking up your right foot, crossing your right ankle on your left knee. Picking your hips up, moving them 2 or 3 inches to the right. And then slow as you like, start to take both legs over to the left, keeping your arms and shoulder blades pressing down, anchoring you. Seeing if you can land the sole of your right foot, the outer edge of your left leg on the mat. If that doesn't happen easily for you, then you could move your left foot towards the centre of the mat. And that will let your legs come a little bit lower. Taking your right hand onto your left hand onto right knee. And just slowly easing it down, getting to that point where you're feeling your right shoulder blade lifts off. At that point, ease back a little on the knee. And then using the breath, inhale, your right shoulder blade presses down. Exhale, a little bit more pressure on the left knee, taking it down towards the mat. So as you do that, you're increasing the twist on your spine, increasing the stretch down the outside of your right leg. Have one more breath there. Turn your head to the left. Straighten out your right leg so your toes come into view. Take a good grip of that leg as close towards your ankle as you can easily reach with your left hand. Using a belt if you're finding yourself above your knee. Lowering your foot as close to the mat as your right shoulder blade allows. And then guiding your left foot up towards the wall above your head. As you do that, you might find it helps just to roll your right hip down towards the bottom of the mat. So it's as if you're just lengthening the right side of your body. You could also press your right heel over to the left and your right hand more to the right. So a nice stretch from side to side. Take 2 more breaths here. Use the exhale. That's the chance to take your toes towards the wall above your head. And release. Let go of your leg, bend your right knee, knees come towards each other. Inhale your knees to the centre and stretch your legs out. Let your feet relax apart, hands by your side, palms turned up. Maybe having a little, I like what you're doing there, Martin, maybe it's having a little rock side to side with your hips. A little bit of release. Then for our core today, we're going to take a little bit of dynamic crow. Preparing for dynamic crow, bringing your feet together, extending your arms above your head. Make yourself long, so press your heels away from you, press your hands away from you, and draw your navel towards your spine so that your core engages and strengthens. Then as you next exhale, start to lift your arms and chest away from the mat. Start to lift your legs away from the mat. Bring your knees in and then reach up with your hands and upper body, making a contact somewhere along your arms with your knees. The closer you are to your armpits, the stronger it is. Then as you inhale next, take that out. Stretch arms and legs out and back. Stretching as long as you can and then keep that going with your breath. As you exhale, bringing it in. As you inhale, taking it out, keeping your navel drawing towards your spine. If you want to make it stronger, then don't land your heels down so that you keep working throughout. If you want a bit of a breather, do land your heels down when you're stretched out. And also you've got about 7 more of these to do. If you want to lighten it a little more, you can also keep your knees bent. So you don't stretch them all the way out along the ground. You keep them bent and land the soles of your feet onto the ground. Exhaling in, inhaling out, navel keeping drawing towards your spine. This is strong, you're working the top and bottom of the core. So if you've got 2 more, then do take them, but if you have done enough, do stretch out. And then when you do stretch out for the last one, let your feet relax apart. Keep your arms above your head, but let your elbows bend so your arms can relax against the ground. And then send your inhales down into your abdomen so that as you breathe in, your abdomen lifts. As you exhale, your abdomen falls. So you're getting that release at your core. Taking up as much of that space above your body as you can on the inhale. Then bring your hands by your side and get yourself mentally ready for a shoulder stand. So the shoulder stand, if you have high blood pressure, shoulder stand isn't recommended. But getting your legs lifted certainly is. And you could do that by just lifting your legs, maybe taking a block or something under your hips or your hands under your hips so that you can hold there with your legs lifted. If you're going to take shoulder stand, then bring your feet together, bring your arms by your side. Get your elbows in as close as you can. You could even have a little bit of your hands underneath your buttocks. And when you're ready, then take a lift of your legs. Keep the movement going so that your hips then lift, and then bring your hands onto your lower back, that's all the top of your buttocks, as soon as you have got some lift. Once you've got that lift, just hold for a moment. There's no rush to do anything from here, just checking in with how that's feeling to be upside down. Keep your gaze directly upwards so you look at your knees. And then just find a bit more balance in your shoulder stand. So that's thinking about, would you be more comfortable if your knees were a bit closer down towards your face? And maybe as you do that, feeding your back up through your hands? Or would your shoulder stand be more balanced and comfortable if you lifted your knees and maybe fed your back down through your hands? So it's more the top of your buttocks that you're holding on to with your hands. Either way, you want your hands firmly gripping your back, so hands nice and wide, fingers spread wide. Keeping some pressure down with your arms. So your upper arms are pressing down into the ground, your shoulders are pressing down into the ground. And that's just helping you to have a solid, firm foundation to your shoulder stand. Knowing that you can hold here with your shoulder stand. If you're ready to come down, you can come down at any time, taking your palms onto the ground and then draping your spine down. If you want to come from here to the pose of tranquility, you could take your hips back a little bit to the wall that's above your head. That might allow you to take one hand off your back and place it on the mat, and then the other. If that feels super stable and you've got a little bit of control over where your hips exist in space, then you could take one hand slowly round and place it on a shin. With your arm good and straight, your leg rests on your shin. If that feels stable, you can bring the other one round. But if that's feeling wobbly, take the first one back and swap it then for the other one. And that action of swapping one hand to the other onto the shin helps you to get the balance and the stability whilst you are upside down. If your legs are on your shins, then keep your legs straight, have your arms good and straight, so that you're coming to that point of tranquility where you could hold here indefinitely. As you do that, one slight adjustment you could make is maybe to bring a little bit more of your upper back onto the mat, just to make sure that you haven't rolled completely onto your neck. So you've got good firm platform. So Jim, it's from here, it's hands down, and then you bring one hand around. If that feels good, then the other. But you need your hips back a little bit. So from there, if you're in the pose of tranquility, bring one hand, then the other, back onto your lower back. Restabilize your shoulder stand. Then preparing for the dismount, take one hand down to the ground, palm turned down, followed by the other. And then slow as you like, start to drape your back down onto the mat. Nice and slowly. Once your hips have landed, let your legs come back down to the ground. Turning your palms to face up, feet can relax apart. And then a few moments to let your body come back into balance. So we always take a counter posture that takes our body in the other direction after a shoulder stand. And tonight it's Matsyasana, the fish pose. So that fantastic opening of the chest, stretching of the shoulders. To prepare for Matsyasana, bend your knees, bring your feet in towards you. That's just so you can lift your hips. And with your hips lifted, you can then bring your arms underneath you, seeing if you can get the insides of your thumbs to touch, pressing your hands down towards your feet so that your elbows are in as close as you can bring them, then lowering your hips so that you find yourself sitting on your hands, stretching your legs out. If you find Matsyasana uncomfortable and challenging, you can keep your knees bent. That will lighten Matsyasana a little. From this position, first thing is press your shoulders firmly down towards the mat. As you do that, you might start to be able to lift your upper back slightly away from the ground. It's only slightly, because you're still keeping your upper arms pressing firmly down. Then with your upper arms firmly pressing down, start to then move your attention, instead of your upper arms pressing down, to your lower arms, particularly your elbows pressing down, your hips pressing into your hands, as you then start to bend your elbows and lift your upper back vertically away from the mat. Once you've got some lift, you might find you can take your head back, either a long way so that the crown of your head can come and touch the mat, or just a little way so the back of your head can, lowering your head down so that the back of your head or the crown of your head is in contact with the mat. Once you're there, keep your lower arms pressing down into the mat, keep your elbow pressing down so that the weight stays in your lower arms rather than coming all into your head. Feeling that fantastic stretch at your throat, seeing if the centre of your chest can lift a little higher to the ceiling, seeing if the centre of between your shoulder blades can lift a little higher from the ground. Have one more breath there. Then to come out, have a press into your elbows so you can release your head, tuck your chin down towards your chest, and slowly drape your back down onto the mat. Lift your hips, release your hands, take a rotate of your wrists, and bring yourself slowly, there's no rush, up to sitting. You can sit cross-legged or with your legs stretched out, whatever is most comfortable, and we'll take a release of our neck. So turning your head to the right as far as it will comfortably go. Back to the centre, take it around to the left. Centre, all the way to the right, keeping your chin nice and level, to the centre, and finally out to the left. And the centre. We're going to move on to a wide leg forward fold. You might want to sit on a cushion or a block to get your hips a little bit higher. I certainly find this a lot more comfortable if I have a bit of elevation. Or a book, I like that, or a book. Anything that lets you get that lift. And once you've got that lift, then stretch your legs out as wide as you can comfortably take them. From there, take your hands just behind you so you can press into your hands. And maybe
As you press into your hands, you might find you can lift your hips, take them back a little and lower them. That will get you a little bit further forward. Then pointing your toes up towards the ceiling, seeing if your knees can point up towards the ceiling. And then take your arms out really wide. Stretch your hands wide and bring them together at the center. Clasp your palms firm together and then interlace your fingers, getting a really good grip. So this is the warm-up for our forward fold. When you're ready, just start to make a circle as if stirring a pot between your knees. Initially stirring at the center, gradually taking that circle wider, so it's as if you're trying to start to get to the edges of that pot. You want to be like a Weeble. Do you remember Weebles wobble and don't fall down? So what you're trying to do here is it's like a Weeble wobbling around in your pelvis so that you're coming round in a full circle, so that your abdomen, your navel is rotating as well as your chest. Taking it in the other direction, and as you do that, really seeing if you can make it a bigger, more sweeping movement. So you're making the stir as big as you possibly can. Take one more stir around and then just start to make that stir a bit smaller. So your circle gets smaller and smaller until you are right in the center and stopped. Release your hands and lower them down. Wonderful. So that's the warm-up. We're now going to take our forward fold. So do, if you want to, maybe just have a little bend of your knees, a little shake, and then straightening your legs out, taking them as wide as you can, and then hands back by your side, fingertips pressing into the ground. Just seeing if you can maybe lift your hips, take them back and place them down. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Now, this is a posture that is so different for different people. Some people can come all the way down and land their forehead on the mat, and for others it's a really thankless posture because you just don't seem to be able to get any further forward than this. So accept that it's a very different posture for different people, and be prepared if you find yourself really upright. Do feel free to just take a little bend in your knees, and that will make it easier to get yourself past the halfway point. So, hands and fingertips digging into the ground. Take a lift of your chest so you're making yourself as tall as you can. And then pressing your fingertips, start to see if you can start bringing your chest a little bit forward. I say do bend your knees if that will help you to get that first movement forward between your legs. Then once you've got yourself forward a little, you can bring one hand and then the other in front of you. And then with your hands there, knowing that there's absolutely no rush, as you inhale, just see if you can ease your upper body forward a little bit between your legs. Maybe using your hands to gently pull you forward. As you exhale, relax your upper body as much as you can. So you're letting your whole upper body relax down between your legs. So it's inhaling, see if you can ease forward. Exhaling, relaxing your whole body. So as ever with these forward folds, you can't get there all in the first move. It's a lot of small movements that take you there rather than any one big movement. If you've got your knees bent, you might find you could start to press your heels away a little bit and maybe straighten your legs a little. But remember, the aim here is to get a good strong stretch down the legs. You'll be feeling it down the insides of your thighs, underneath. So as long as you're feeling that strong stretch, then this stretch is doing what you need it to do. And I can tell from faces that this is doing what it needs to do. You might, from here, want to see if you can maybe take your hands out towards your toes, maybe taking a hold of your toes or a hold of your ankles or your shins. And then with that hold, you can still be inhaling, easing forward, exhaling, or relaxing your whole upper body. Take 2 good breaths. then preparing to come out. Bring your hands back in front of you, palms resting on the ground. Slowly walk your hands back, slowly bringing yourself back upright. Taking your hands so your fingertips are underneath your knees and using them to help your knees to slowly lift. And then, so I grimace then. And then bringing your legs to the centre and stretching your legs out, and just have a shake of your legs there. Wonderful. From there we're going to come onto our fronts and do some work for our backs. So come to lying on your front. And once you're there, bring your hands underneath your forehead, rest your forehead on your hands. And what's quite nice after taking a wide leg forward fold is to then have a rock of your hips. So just rocking your hips side to side, and that gives a little bit of massage right in the spot that you've just been stretching. Bringing that movement to a halt, forehead's relaxing on your mat. So we're going to build up to locust, and we're going to do that first of all by working the lower back. Tuck both toes under, keep your forehead just resting on your hands. With your toes tucked under, lift your knees away from the mat, and then with your knees away from the mat, lift and point your toes behind you. First of all, stretch your legs as long as you can, so pressing your toes to the wall behind you or the garden behind you. And then maybe seeing if you can start to lift your legs away from the ground. So you're peeling your thighs away from the mat. Allow it, really pressing your hip creases firmly down. That will help your legs to lift. Still lengthening, lifting, upper body relaxing as much as you can so that all the work is in the lower body. As you next exhale, let your legs lower back to the ground. We'll take one more of those. Tucking your toes under and lifting your knees. Checking that your upper body is relaxed. Trying to keep your upper body as relaxed as it is now. Lifting your toes and stretching your legs away behind you. Then when you're ready, seeing if you can lift your legs away from the mat. Hip creases pressing down, upper body staying relaxed if you can. Lengthening your legs, lifting your legs, keeping your breath steady and smooth throughout. Have one more breath, see if you can lift them a little higher as you take it. And when you exhale, lowering your legs down. Let's prepare the upper back, the upper body. We'll do that as we often do with a bit of cobra. Hands come under your shoulders so that your fingertips line up with the top of your shoulders. When they're in the right place, your elbows will be lifted from the ground, bringing your elbows in close. With your forehead resting on the ground, we'll just activate the shoulders. So lifting them up to the ceiling and then down towards your feet. That little up and back movement. When you next inhale, lift your face and look directly forward along your mat, along the floor. As you next inhale, slowly lift your chest away from the ground. Hands are just resting on the mat rather than lifting. Shoulder blades ease down your back. Elbows are in close. Chest presses forward. So you might want to, as you take your hands back a little, not moving against the mat, but just gently pulling against the mat to help draw your chest forward. One more breath. Have a lift if you can as you take it. And then exhaling, lowering yourself back down, resting your forehead onto the mat. Letting your whole body relax. We'll take one more. Forehead on the mat as you take your shoulders up and back. Inhaling, lift your face to look forward along the ground. Next inhale, slowly lift your chest away from the mat. Elbows are close. Chest easing forward, shoulder blades down your back. Keeping that steadiness in the breath. See if you can lift a little higher. When you next exhale, slowly lowering down. Then bringing your head bringing your hands underneath your forehead. Rest your forehead on your hands for a couple of breaths.
Seeing it, checking in with the body. Are you holding any tension anywhere? Any in your hips maybe, in your shoulders particularly? So we're going to step this up. For the next, we're going to take the hands onto the lower back. So if what we've just done is as much as your back needs, then you could take Cobra again. Or if your back's already done enough, then you could rest this out. If you want to bring your hands onto your lower back, then take your arms around, interlace your fingers and rest your arms onto your back. If though your shoulder's not going to like you having your hands interlaced, it's absolutely good and fine to take your hands onto the ground, either side of your body with your palms turned up. Then when you next inhale, lift your face, look forward along the ground. When you next inhale, start to lift your chest. So this is just Cobra, but there's nowhere to hide now. All this lift is definitely coming from your lower back. As you next inhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. Lifting your shoulders, lifting your arms, pressing your arms down towards your feet. As you do that, you'll get a little bit more lift. Keeping your breath steady, keeping your lower body relaxed if you can. Taking one more breath, lifting as you take it. Exhale, lowering back down, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, placing a forehead or cheek onto your hands. We put it all together next. We'll take a leg lift as well as the upper arm lift. Feel free here just to take a leg lift or to take Cobra if doing both at the same time will be stronger than you need, or resting this out. So if you're taking the full posture, bringing your hands either by your side, palms turned up, or hands onto your back, fingers interlaced, forehead rests on the ground, or chin if that's easier for you to reach. When you next inhale, lift your face, look directly forwards. Next inhale, slowly lifting your chest away from the ground. Next inhale, let your arms lift. Next inhale, let your legs lift. Point your toes, stretch your toes back, stretch your arms back, helping you to lift. And then seeing if you can lift your arms, lift your legs, lift your chest, lifting anything that's able to be lifted. Keeping that steady smoothness in your breath. One more breath, one more lift. As you exhale, slowly lowering back down. Hands underneath your forehead, resting your forehead or a cheek onto your hands. Wonderful. We're going to take one more. It's such a good posture for the back. The back's warmed up, everybody, you're all ready, but do rest this one out if you don't need another. So bringing your hands either by your side or onto your lower back, knowing that you could take a Cobra or a leg lift, forehead resting on the mat. As you next inhale, lift your gaze, look forward. As you next inhale, slowly lifting your chest. Next inhale, arms lift. Next inhale, legs lift. Hip creases pressing firmly down. Stretching your hands down towards your feet. Stretching your toes way behind you. Lifting your shoulders, lifting your chest, lifting your legs. Keeping your breath steady. Being glad you've not got a cat rubbing around your face like Jim has. One more breath, one more lift. Next exhale. Slowly lowering down, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, resting your forehead or a cheek onto your hands. We'll allow ourselves a few more breaths. You can probably feel there's still an elevation in your breath after all those muscles have worked. Then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press into your hands to come up to hands and knees. Have your wrists under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Once you're there,
if you just have a quick watch this way, I'm just going to show you what we're going to do next. We're going to pick our hand up, have a look at it, and then we will be threading it through, taking the fingers up towards the ceiling and taking this shoulder as far through as we can. So it's a little twist. We'll unthread, take fingers onto temples, and then send the elbow up towards the ceiling. And we'll take that with the breath. We'll exhale to thread. We'll inhale to point our elbows up to the ceiling. So, picking up your right hand, turning the palm over, having a quick look, and then when you exhale next, send it under and send your fingertips up towards the ceiling, taking your left shoulder through. As you inhale, unthread, bring your fingertips to your temple and let your elbow stretch up to the ceiling, taking that left shoulder back. Keep that going with your breath. As you exhale, rethread, fingertips point up to the ceiling, inhale, unthreading, and keeping that movement going with your breath. So as you get a feel for that, see how much you can get a twist as you take it by taking your fingertips more up to the ceiling or your elbow more up to the ceiling and back. Taking 2 more of those. So this is giving us our twist. It's also helping to ease the back out after locust. And then when you finish that one, lowering your left hand down to the ground and sitting yourself back onto your heels to come into child's pose, stretching your arms out, just resting your arms, resting your forehead onto the mat, maybe placing a block or making a pillow under your head if your head doesn't easily and comfortably make contact with the ground. Hands come under your shoulders, bring yourself back up to hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and we'll take the other side. Picking up your right hand, having a look at the palm. When you next exhale, then sending it under, threading it through, taking it up towards the ceiling, taking your right shoulder through as far as you can, inhaling, lifting back up, fingertips to temples, now elbow heading up towards the ceiling and right shoulder going back. Keep that going with your breath. Exhale as you thread. Inhale as you unthread. As you're threading through, you might find you get a bit further if you take more of a bend of the left elbow. Just finding what gives you the best, deepest twist of your spine. Taking 2 more of those. And then having had your elbow lifted, then bring your hands down, back to all fours, sitting back on your heels, stretching your arms out in front, lowering your head to the ground, and then adjusting this child pose to make it as comfortable as you can for you. So that means choosing whether your knees are open or closed, choosing whether your hands are in front of you, by your feet, one on top of the other on your lower back. Whatever makes you the most comfortable is the right child's pose for you right now. Take 2 or 3 more breaths here, feeling the upper body relax down with each out breath. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press into your hands, sitting yourself up, and come from there to standing. So today we've been doing quite a lot of work with the spine. And we're going to finish our work with the spine by taking the only spinal movement that we haven't done today, because we've twisted left and right, bent forwards, bent backwards, so it's only a side bend left to do, which we're going to do with triangle pose. So take your feet nice and wide on your mat. It's fine to be sideways on, so if you're sideways on your mat, if you want to turn your mat to face this way and have the room, do, but otherwise, taking your legs nice and wide, hands on hips,
Turn your right foot in and your left foot out. As always, once you've done that, bringing your hips back around to align with the long edge of your mat as much as you can. Picking up, letting your right hand lift up towards the ceiling. Really stretching high with that right hand, pressing your right foot firmly into the mat. Taking your left hand onto your left thigh. Keep that uplift of your right arm as you exhale and start hinging to the left. Keep your right shoulder easing back rather than coming forward. It will try to come forward. Coming as low as you can, letting your left hand slide down your left thigh as you come down. When you come as far as you can start to press your right fingertips more to the left. That might bring you a little further down. Use your next 2 breaths. As you inhale, press your fingertips to the right. As you exhale, relax more. Oh, fingertips press to the left. As you exhale, relax more to the left. When you next inhale, make it a big one and bring yourself back up. Exhale, lowering your right hand down. Hands on hips, bring your feet face forward. And preparing for the other side, left foot turns in, right foot turns out. Guide your hips back around to face the long edge of your mat. Lift your left arm, stretch as high as you can with the left arm up to the ceiling, pressing the left foot firmly into the mat. Right hand on right thigh. Keep the uplift of the left arm as you exhale and start hinging over to the right, allowing your right hand to drift down your leg. Keep the left shoulder easing back, it'll want to come forward. To test, bringing that left arm towards me, so it's coming overhead towards me rather than away from me. Pressing your left fingertips more over to the right if you can. And then use your next 2 breaths. As you inhale, press your left fingertips to the right. And as you exhale, just let your upper body relax more to the right. When you next inhale, big inhale as you lift back up. Exhale, lowering your left arm, hands on hips, feet face forward, and heel toe your feet back together. Once you're there, do whatever feels right for you. It might be a bit of that with your shoulders, it might be a little bit of that with your legs. And then we'll finish with a forward fold and move swiftly to final relaxation. Bring your feet hip distance apart. Take your hands onto your hips. Take your shoulders back so that your chest lifts. When you next exhale, press your chest forward so that you hinge from your hips. Keeping the lift in your chest for as long as you can. So all the hinge and all the movement comes from your hips. And stick your bum out the back. Coming down as low as you can. When you can go no further at that point, release your hands from your hips. Let them come down to the ground. Let your neck muscles relax so your head hangs heavy. Then take hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite hand. Take a little bend of your knees. This is more about transitioning to relaxation and getting a fantastic, strong hamstring stretch. Use your next 2 or 3 breaths. When you breathe out, let your body relax down a little more to the ground. So it's almost as if you feel the crown of your head come a millimetre or 2 closer to the ground with every exhale. Maybe drawing your navel slightly into your spine, maybe tilting your tailbone up towards the ceiling, just to let you come down a little more easily. And release your hands down towards the ground. Bend your knees more deeply, tuck your tailbone in. Slowly start to uncurl back up, coming up so that your head is the last thing that lifts. When it does lift, roll your shoulders, opening your arms, and then come to lying down on your mat, taking something to put behind your head if that will allow you to be more comfortable, ready for final relaxation. Feet to the corners, hands away from the body.
Palms turned up, taking a bend of your knees if that's what your back needs. Or just because it's more comfortable. You don't have to need it. Whatever is going to make you comfortable, take that option. Once you're lying down, reacquaint yourself with the back of your body and the feel of it against the mat. Now really having that strong sense of the back of your body firmly rooting and connecting you with the ground. Becoming aware then of the front of your body, noticing again how as you inhale, some parts of your body occupy a little more of the space that's above you. This time really focusing on the exhale when you release that space above you and the back of your body is able to connect a little more closely with the ground. Allow yourself 2 or 3 really good breaths, relaxing the whole body on each of the exhales. Knowing that for the next few moments there's nothing you need to do except rest, relax and let go. Keeping your body still, bring your awareness and attention back. Maybe just feeling once again the back of your body against the ground. When you're ready, bringing movement back with a wriggle of your fingers and a wriggle of your toes. Bring your legs together, take your arms overhead. Have a gentle stretch, toes pressed forward, arms stretch back. Releasing the stretch, bending your knees, one knee then the other onto your chest. Take your arms around the back of your knees or the front of your knees and have a rock side to side. Bring that rock into a halt in the centre, lift your head to your knees, draw your knees down snugly towards your chest. And then release, feet land down, head lands down. From there, maybe coming to the right hand side for a moment or two, slowly bringing yourself up to sitting. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.